Randall and Peggy bought a new RV so they could go to Alaska, but it turned out to be more adventure than they expected.
This is our 5th RV, and we never had this problem before.
Welcome to the channel. I'm Liz. I'm a full-time RVer. I've been on the road 5 years, and I have been making videos highlighting the good and bad in the RV industry. I'm making these videos to educate you on the manufacturers and dealers, and also to bring about much needed change in the RV industry. Today, Randall and Peggy share their story, plus advice if you're shopping for an RV.
I retired in 14, she retired in 15, and we were planning this big RV trip. We were going to go to Alaska, and we'd look at some Class C's, and we saw some floor plans that we really liked. We searched the whole country, and there was maybe 4 Jayco 29 MVs in the whole country at that time. One of them was in Calera, Alabama, Great American RV. The lady, what was the sales lady's name? She was really nice, and she actually gave Peggy some driving instructions. She let Peggy drive it around, and Peggy drove it really well, handled it well. So we said, yeah, we'll take it. We can get to Alaska in that thing with sharing the driving, you know. Our plan was Alaska, Canada, and come back, and we were going to hit all western states on the way back. We were just going to zigzag back, and it was going to take us about 3 or 4 months to do it. The very first thing that happened on the 3rd day out, the water heater quit working. Now, I will say this, Calera, or Great American RV, has an on-call tech that you can call just about 24 hours a day. That guy knows his business. He'll walk you through something. You can see that he knows it in his mind. So he gave me a workaround for the water heater. He said, but be careful, you'll blow it up. You got to make this jump, let it heat up, and unjump it, or it'll blow up. And so we went through very frigid Alaska and Canada with this makeshift water heater.
It's not very comforting when they tell you things like that. And you just about have to have hot water if you're in Alaska.
And then about a week out, the refrigerator quit working. And I called Jim again. Well, he had me go outside and take some covers off, move some wires around. It would work for about a week, and then it quit working for about a week. About half the trip, we didn't have refrigeration.
And the slide, the bedroom slide, when we started to leave, we were securing everything, and usually the slides are the last thing that we pull back in, would not come back in. You're pretty much trapped when you can't put a slide in. We eventually got that back, but it took about half a day.
But when we were coming back up through Alaska, we were at Toke. We stopped for the night, put our jacks down, and the next morning got ready to go, and the jacks wouldn't come up. I had a Starlink satellite system with me, so I had communication. I called Jayco. There's nothing in Toke. We're about 300 miles from Fairbanks. Don't know where they found it, but they found a tow truck. And he came out and he slaughtered those jacks.
But before he came, the technicians from Jayco and everybody that we talked to in the service center, they tried everything they could to try to get the jacks up. Nothing worked.
This guy came out of nowhere. He was driving a really old Ford diesel truck, pickup truck. I mean, that thing had to be 40 years old, maybe older. And he had all these tools and stuff, not in a toolbox, just thrown over in the bed. He was a character. He was like Grizzly Adams type guy. He crawled under the truck. I said, you need some cardboard? Nah, I just crawl under here. And he crawled under that mud and dirt with his clothes on. He's banging and sawing and cutting, and the next thing I know, he said, oh, you can go now. I looked under there, and the jacks were up. What he did to make it drivable is he had cut the hydraulic lines, and he got a big floor jack and some lumber and got under there and jacked those things back into place. I said, are they going to fall out? And he said, shouldn't. And Jayco said, go to Missoula, Montana, and our dealer there will fix everything and get back on the road. Several days to get to Missoula. When we got there, the dealer said, yeah, we can fix it, but it's going to take about 4 months. And I said, well, I can't wait 4 months. And they said, well, that's the best we can do. So we kind of finished our trip with no leveling. The other really bad thing was there was a sewer gas smell coming out of the bathroom, and we couldn't stop it. That odor, we just couldn't make it go away. And it just, you'd be riding along, you couldn't stand the smell up here in the front of the vehicle because it was so bad. Jim, the RV guy, said those things get cracks in them when they're putting them together, and they don't catch it, and it'll do that. We decided we're just going to cut this trip short at 55 days and take it back to the dealer.
There was just too many issues that we could not continue. And when you can't level your coach, you know, your refrigerator's not working, you're worried about, hey, next time, is that slide going to come in? Because it didn't come in the last time. You know, you worry about those things and you think, okay, well, you know, I'm afraid I'll get out here in this remote area. It's really dangerous when you have a breakdown and you cannot get help. And you could possibly be there for days and days or weeks. And when you're traveling, you can't just stop because they're going to be working on your coach, and you can't live in your coach while they're thinking about working on it or keeping it on their lot. So what do you do in the meantime? Do you fly home? What do you do?
When we got to Great American RV, it still took them 6 months to get the thing in and get it out. By the time we got back to the dealer, we had 22 major things. The valance over the table, it kept falling down. You'd be eating, it'd just fall down. And we lost the mud flap, and you could hear the rocks hitting the frame after that. Doors wouldn't open, cabinet doors wouldn't open. I mean, I'd pull on all my bite and they wouldn't open.
There's something that happened to the front door. I could not get the door open. Even he had difficulty opening the door. So a lot of times we would go out through the passenger doors in the front. It just made it difficult.
The trim around the slide in the bed area, her side was just flopping. It wasn't attached. And we'd have people pull up and toot their horn, they'd point at the back of the vehicle, and I knew what happened, the door would come open. We'd go back there and it would be locked. The hinge would be locked, but it just didn't catch good enough, and the door would just spring open going down the road. That happened several times. The doors were warped. You could see them. They were just warped. You could look down and see light. If you had the light on, you'd see light in the compartment. Of water just went in there. I think they had to replace all the lines and at least a couple of the jacks. Oh, he also tore the drawer out in here so he could get to the back of the controller. They had to change the controller. They had to repair the door, in addition to everything they did under the coach for the jacks. I even think they got a new pump on here.
So that gentleman, he really did a job on him, and I think the service center was not happy with what he did, but that was authorized by Jayco.
Another major problem that we have is if you're going around a curve to the right and you hit the brakes or tap the brakes, the left front brake makes an awful noise and starts just really shaking the front end really bad. Now this is a new Ford chassis, and you'd think, well, I could go to a Ford dealer and they'll look at that and fix it. Come to find out there's not a Ford dealer within 300 miles except one that will look at it. And I talked to them and I said, hey, can you look at this? It should be a warranty issue. They said, you can bring it and put it on the lot and we'll look at it when we get to it. And all my commercial business that comes in and gets first option, he said it could be 2 or 3 or 4 months or longer. I said, so my RV's going to sit here for half a year waiting on you to get around and fix it. He said, could be. I like the engine because it's a 7.3 liter. Ford designed that to be a fleet engine. So the oil change interval on it's 10,000 miles. But you can't find a Ford dealer that will change the oil. It might be a Ford product, but getting it repaired is going to be a nightmare. My daughter bought a Jayco. And the reason we bought a Jayco is she was thoroughly satisfied with her Jayco. And she had 2 Mountain Airs. And she should know quality when she sees it. We thought, well, we'll get a Jayco because she said they were good quality. And hers was, but it was made several years ago. This is our 5th RV. And we never had this problem before. I mean, they were really built solid, and we never had a fear about getting stranded somewhere because something didn't work. And then we bought this Jayco, and we paid a lot more money for it than we did the other ones. And we're terrified to go somewhere and put the jacks down because they might not come back up. The killer for the industry now is they're turning them out with all of these quality issues. And then when those quality issues come back to the dealer for repairs, that's stacking up. My local dealer here, he said he just can't hire people and he can't hire trained people. So it's a training issue. Jayco needs to hire people, train them, and put them out there in these big dealerships. I know the dealerships are independent, but they've got to do something.
We've owned our Jayco for 8 months, and it's been in the shop for half of that time.
I've learned that now is not a good time to buy an RV, and I've also learned that If you want a career, go get certified on RV repair. You'll have a job for the rest of your life.
They're just selling more coaches than they have people to work on them and maintain them. We were happy to get it fixed, but our trust issue is a little lacking there, I have to tell you.
I know right now, if the tornado got this coach, I would not buy another coach. I wouldn't, because we were so disappointed. The Alaska trip was supposed to be our bucket list. We got a thing on the back of the coach that we were going to fill that in. My advice to someone getting into it new is get into it with a fifth wheel. And I say fifth wheel because we have rolled the bumper pull 4 times on the interstate. That's no fun. Fifth wheels are more stable. You can drive them a lot easier. And then when you get into Class A's, and they're always having to get them repaired. And these Class C's are nice, they're easy enough to drive and everything, but the problems that we've had, those problems overshadow any benefit that you get from owning a Class C.
A lot of people are saying now maybe it's better to buy used. Buy it from somebody that maybe they've worked out all the bugs. Some people may not have all of the issues that we did, and I hope they don't.
If Jayco offered to buy this coach back right now, I'd unload it and send it to them.
If you found this video valuable, please like, subscribe, and share. And let me know in the comments any advice you have for someone shopping for an RV. And if RV life calls you, I hope you come out here and give it a try.